Creepers left to rise, buzz like crazy. Everybody's trying to steal my lady. Spiders in the mirror and things can't be right. Back to the scene of a Friday night, to a blessed collision still frozen tight. Spear drinkers, Cupid and the sound of her first chime. And why did you argue? We're dreaming of those eyes, the best part of my life. And when we make love, babe, don't make a sound. The clock won't turn around. Ooh, you turn around. 2,000 little fires. And ooh, your circle is spreading. Slowing things down when I wanted to race. Catching up again when you try to chase. Feels like we're playing space. You always find a way to make up, right? Even when we're such a fly. Even when tensions run high. You gotta soften up your sleeves, girl. You're never enough, babe. Dreaming of those eyes, best part of my life. 'Cause when we make love, babe.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another vlog. We're going to do a contemporary romance vlog. I've kind of been in the mood lately. I've been reading all kinds of stuff. You know, if you've seen my last my last vlog was thriller, horror, classic thriller, or classic suspense. And then I had the vlog previous to that, which was just persuasion. So I feel like July has been a very different reading month for me. Like, I've been reading all kinds of different stuff, and it's been so fun. So a few weeks ago, maybe a week ago, I asked in my Instagram stories if I was planning to do a 24-hour reading vlog. That was the week I think I read Persuasion, and then I didn't end up having time for that. So I asked if for like books you wanted me to read in that, and I gave you some options, and one of them was Lucy Score's Things We Never Got Over, and another one was All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. I still haven't read this yet. I really have been wanting to, but this is also another one of those that I just have been putting off because I'm nervous. Nervous about it, nervous if I'm gonna love it. So when the poll finished, this one and the Lucy Score were tied. So I decided that I was gonna go with this one first. So I'd like to include both books in here. I think the other book I had was Abby Jimenez's new book, Part of Your World. So those are the three books that I'm kind of thinking are going to be up next in my reading lineup. But I picked this one because I have the audio for this. I bought it when it was on sale a few months ago, and I just really want to read it. You know, it is a long book, but I don't know. How many pages is this? Like 600 pages? No. Maybe. 550? 559? 559 pages. So I don't really know anything about this. I believe, I honestly, especially when it's a book that's by an author that I know and love, I don't really like to know a ton about the book before I go into it. And I literally just barely started the audiobook and was flipping through the pages. So I'm not very far into this at all. Nothing really to talk about. The only thing I know is it's, you know, Mariana Zapata is known for slow burn. This is contemporary romance. I'm sure this is a grumpy hero. And I believe he is a single dad. I think I've heard that. So yeah, this is the one we're gonna go with first. I'm very excited about this one. And we'll see if If I end up having a lot to say, I may not include a lot of books. Usually what determines how many books are, not always, are in a vlog is how much I talk. So if I talk a lot, then there's less books. But I don't know. I'm interested in this to see where I fall, because I know some of my friends loved it and some of my friends didn't love it. And yeah, that's always interesting to me, because sometimes even people that I have really similar taste with, we still diverge opinions on some books, you know? And I think that's really interesting. Especially, I think, with romance, because, you know, for me, I want all of my books to be well written. I want characters to be well developed. I want the plot to have a solid path. I want good relationship development. I want prose that is, if not beautiful, then at least not drawing attention to itself. I don't want awkward writing, awkward underdeveloped writing, you know, things like that. Like the basics, right? Those are the things that I'm looking for and hoping not to find in the awkward prose in my books. But I've been thinking recently, well, my elbow just fell off, that romance books are even more difficult, in my opinion. I was thinking about this because I was specifically thinking about a book that I just read, which will be in my wrap-up, Don't Kiss the Bride by Carrie Ann Cole, which I really loved. And some of my friends didn't. And one of the reasons, like I was talking to Jesson about this, and she didn't love it because she, well, I'll let you watch her video. It was in her most disappointing reads of the year last year. I don't want to put words in her mouth, you know. But all of that rambliness to get to my point, in that I feel like a lot of times what makes a romance book work for people is if they feel the chemistry of the couple or the relationship, if it's more than two. And I think that you can pinpoint if you feel chemistry to a few things in the writing. But even if the writing is completely solid and textbook perfect, I think that romance, and all books, but I'm going to use romance as a shining example, like it has to have that like nebulous quality of you can feel their chemistry, you know? And I think that maybe we don't give authors enough credit for that, because that seems like such a difficult thing to put into words, you know? It's difficult to describe when you feel that in real life, when you feel that chemistry, that connection with someone. And I think recreating that for a book, for someone else to have that experience, is just incredibly difficult. And there is an aspect to that, all technical aspects aside of writing as a craft. There's a part of that that is a little bit mystical, you know, something that is, there's no formula for how to do that, you know, not 100%. Anyway, that's all I have to talk to you about today. I think I mentioned this in one of my previous vlogs. Candace sent me this tea sampler. Let's see if it will focus. Single Steeps. And it's so beautiful. I put it in the B-roll. It's got all of these little teas, one serving teas. Almost feels like a tea advent calendar. And she gave that to me when I had surgery, and I kind of set it aside and saved it, because I do that when I get something special, which is, I need to stop doing that. Like, life is short, just use the special stuff now. But I was saving it specifically because I had thought that I wanted to try and do Vlogmas in July, and I would use that as my daily tea tasting. But then, you know, life happened, and it wasn't gonna work. Vlogmas in July just wasn't gonna work. So I thought that I would just do some tea tastings in this vlog, and we'll just sprinkle them in my future vlogs if I can remember to do them. I am enjoying these teas very much. Thank you so much for sending them to me, Candace. So today's is Harvest Apple Spice, which I picked because it's 1,000,000 degrees and I want it to be fall. And look at my shirt. This is from Hello Lovely Box. It says, "We're going to the library, boo." It's a Halloween-y shirt. It's a fall flavored tea. I want it to be fall, but I want fall to last longer than like a week. I'm so tired of it getting from 100 to 40 degrees here, which is usually what happens. So, okay, we're gonna taste this Harvest Apple Spice. That's honestly so delightful. Very strong apple flavor. A little bit flowery. The spice is really only cinnamon that I can tell. No, there's definitely other spices in there too. Almost like a little bit of, I wonder what's in this one. Does it tell me? Let's see. Harvest apple spice, orchard ripe fruit and berries infused with warm baking spices. So I can't pinpoint what other spices are in there, but that's very good. This is very delightful. This is from Tea Forte. And I want to find another one of these for Vlogmas, because I'm going to do Vlogmas again this year in December, no matter what. So, all right, I am going to get to work and listen to this audiobook and enjoy my tea. So I'll check in with y'all when I have something to say about this book. Hello, friends. Okay, it's Saturday, and I haven't updated you for a while. We're doing braids on my hair again. I don't know. Sometimes I go in phases where, like, I want to learn or just do different types of braids. Braids are so nice if your hair is... Uh-oh. My elastic just fell out. If your hair isn't layered, you know? For a lot of years, my long hair was layered, and I felt like braiding it was just, like, a recipe for frustration. But now it's pretty much all the same length. My broken parts from going red have healed, as in they grew, finally. And, yeah. So, I know you didn't come here for a hair update, but I don't know, man. I always talk about my hair. So, hello. It's Saturday. I have not really done a whole lot of reading, to be honest, since I updated you last. I'm just finding it difficult to concentrate again. Like, oh, hello, doggos. It just happens to me sometimes if I'm stressed about something, or if I have a flare-up. If I'm, like, super stressed about something, or if I have a really bad flare-up, which I just did yesterday, still kind of lingering today, I find it so difficult to focus on books, which is frustrating because usually when I have a flare-up, I'm resting more, but I find it so hard to focus on reading. I don't know. The way that pain affects your brain is interesting and terrifying. Don't mind these nerds. They're being very loud, playing bitey under my feet. So, I am continuing reading this. I was hoping to have more than just this book in this vlog, but I don't know, because I'm going to tell you what I think about this book. I'm only this far into it though, so again, like, very preliminary feelings. I've only read 2 other Mariana Zapata books, even though I own a lot of hers. And I loved both of them. I gave them both 5 stars. I read Culty and From Lukov with Love. Adored them both. So I know how she writes, and I know that I like her writing style. And honestly, I feel like the way that she builds her stories and her characters really, really works for me. They're very layered. There's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of development with things that are outside of the romance, as well as the romance developing the characters, and that's what I prefer to read. I love seeing characters go through a journey and develop and have an arc, a really well-developed arc, and I want that to coincide and sort of be woven in with the romance, you know, because I firmly feel like romance is character development. The best romances, the ones that I prefer. I will never not say that love doesn't change people. I firmly believe that love is transformative. That's just a core belief that I hold very dear, and those are my favorite books to read. So I don't know why I haven't read more of her books, honestly. I think it's largely that they're just so long. And like I talked about in my last video, if I'm reading long books that take me a longer time to get through, that diminishes the amount of content that I have to talk about or to provide for you guys, which, I don't know, that's always in my mind, although I try not to focus on that, which brings me to, I wanted to mention just a big, huge thank you to everybody who commented on my last vlog when I talked about that, and specifically, like, reading the thrillers. I can't even tell you like how touched I was by your comments. I got so many. And so many of you said that you were here for whatever I had to read, and like, I can't tell you how much that meant to me, so thank you for that. And that also made me feel valued, and shush, puppies. But it also made me feel a lot of freedom, which brings me to this just arrived in the mail today. I really love these covers, the Penguin Classic covers. This is North and South, and I've already started reading it. I know. I'm not going to talk about it much, but okay, first impressions on this. I have rambled a lot. If you're new here, I do that a lot. So this is definitely a Grumpy Sunshine. The hero is older, silver fox, teenage boy, single dad, very grumpy, very typical Mariana Zapata hero from the two that I've read in that way. And I adore the way that she handles the grumpiness and how the heroine sort of like brings a change in him. Like, I just enjoy that so much. So I'm really excited to see that happen here. This is a slow building story, and I feel like that's different than a slow burn. I love a slow building story. I prefer that to all hard, all fast right away. I find those to be just so boring if you just like go 0 to 60 within like the first 2 pages in any type of way. If it's all action, like I just read a fantasy romance that did that, and I DNF'd it because I'm like, I'm bored. I don't care about this action. Whatever type of action that is. I don't care about the action that is moving this story forward because I don't care about these characters. So why do I care what's happening to them? Why do I care if the stakes are high or if they're low? Because I don't care about these characters yet. I don't know them. You haven't shown them to me. You haven't built them up. I don't care about them. So I think that Mariana Zapata does a really good job of creating characters that you care about. And also there's a little bit of a mysterious element here. We don't know really what happened with the heroine's divorce. She is divorced. Her mother died. We don't really know what happened there with her mother died. It sounds like it was something mysterious and heartbreaking. We don't know why Rhodes is single or what happened there or why he's so grumpy. So there's a lot of we don't know why about the people in here. And I find that to be always something that makes me really compelled to continue to pick up a book. So I'm really enjoying it. It's not slow paced enough that I am bored, for sure. I feel like it's a good, solid, slow unraveling of these characters' lives and leading you to the romance. So I'm having a good time with this. And another thing that I did is, unfortunately you won't see this until it's too late. I posted about it on Instagram, but if you use NetGalley, Kennedy Ryan has her new book that comes out this fall on NetGalley today only, for an immediate download. So I downloaded that and I've been reading it. I'm about 14 or 15% in. And let's see. No books. Okay, so this book is Before I Let Go, and Kennedy has often called this a romance for grown folks. So this is a second chance romance. It's a black romance. We have our couple who was married with children. They built up a restaurant, and now it's very successful. Something tragic happened, and I haven't learned what that tragedy is yet, that sort of resulted in the fraying of their marriage, and they ended up getting divorced. So we are at that point now where they're divorced, and you can see that there's still this desire to be together, you know? And I feel like Kennedy Ryan does that soulmate level love so well. And I know she also writes really emotional, heavy books. Like, if you're new here, Kennedy Ryan is my all-time favorite author. I've read all of her books. I have a video breaking down all of her books, and I've been dying for this book, so I am very excited that it's here and that I'm reading it, and I'm just very immersed in it. So I want to include a spoiler-free review of that in this video too. So that is actually the change that this vlog is going. I'm gonna finish this and review this for you, tell you about it as I go, and also Before I Let Go, the new Kennedy Ryan. So those are the books that I'm planning to read now for the rest of the weekend. Also, by the time you see this, you will probably know, but I'm thinking that I I'm gonna move my vlog posting days to Tuesday instead of Monday, only because I don't like the pressure of having my vlog edited and uploaded on Monday. So we're gonna move them to Tuesday, and then yeah. So let's do our tea tasting. Today's is Blueberry Merlot. This is an herbal tea. Hi, Wanda. And it smells really good. It smells a little herby and minty. Like it kind of reminds me of like a blueberry snow cone. That's good. Definitely strong blueberry flavor, but also a really strong herb flavor. I'm not entirely sure what herbs are in here. Hi! She just climbs on my lap whenever. This can't continue as she grows, but I indulge my puppy. That is good. It's not as good as the apple one, but so I've tasted 2 of these. Well, no, I had another one in a previous vlog, but the 2 I tasted in this vlog are both very flavorful, like strong flavors. And I like that in an herbal tea because I feel like sometimes herbal teas can be weak flavored and these are not. So I'm super happy about that. Okay. I'm gonna watch these dogs for a bit and do some work and continue listening to this. And I'll see y'all soon.
The last breath of summer is blowing down our necks, and soon we'll wave goodbye to the fleeting bliss. Because you are like a tidal wave, ripping up my life, not living without a trace. And you know that I'm your silent patient. You know I'm your silent patient. I've been waiting to hold me up. I'll be holding on through the winter for your kiss to wake me up. Then with the colors of spring, my heart will blossom up again. Speeding up.
Look at this hair. I did Ava from Ava Reads Romance. I'll have her channel linked. I posted and that I was trying to figure out how to do heatless curls, and she's like, here, let me tell you my tutorial. And so I'm like, look, it's definitely gotten looser. When I first took them out, they were super pretty and curly. I mean, I think it's really pretty now, but anyway, hello, it's Sunday. This is my new drink, non-Diet Coke for a while. Olipop is actually pretty good, but it's very good for you too, and it's loaded with fiber, so like, proceed with caution, my friends, how many of those you drink a day. So, alright, I wanted to talk a little bit about All Roads Lead Here. Hold on, let me switch hands. All Roads Lead Here, I am listening to it. I am about halfway through at this point. And we finally got some information about what happened with Rhodes's ex-wife, or I guess Amos's mother. We finally found that out, which was good. And I think that I have a few complaints about this book right now. And I'm still enjoying it. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm still enjoying it. I really like her characters. But I do definitely have a few issues with this. I feel like there is very little story being told here. It's very meandering. There's not really a lot of direction for where this is going. I mean, obviously because it's a Mariana Zapata, we know this is a romance, and we know that it's a slow burn romance, and so I almost feel like a slow burn is a misnomer for this, because it's just overall slow moving. I think that the story is not quite sure. It feels like it's almost being written like an exploratory draft. Like, it doesn't feel like she knows where it's headed, you know what I mean? And maybe when I get to the end, I'll be like, oh yes, I see. All of that seemingly needless information that took up a lot of pages was actually essential. I'm not saying that can't happen, but I am saying that I'm not 100% I'm not 100% invested in this to the point where I can't put it down, where I'm constantly thinking about it. And I will also say that Rhodes right now reads very much like Kulti and Lukov. More like Kulti, I think. The hero, Rhodes, he feels exactly in that vein. Which, I mean, you know what you're getting into with a Mariana Zapata, but I would like to see some differentiation there with his character. And the heroine, who I can't even remember her name, because Aurora, how could I forget Aurora? Because Rhodes calls her Angel. She is interesting. I don't dislike her, but I also don't love her. I find it a little bit off-putting how she continuously is grasping for any hint of kindness or approval that Rhodes throws her way, you know? She's so desperate for him to just not hate her that it feels like desperate overall, you know? It feels desperate, and I can't help but wonder, like, why? He's rude to you, you know? Like, he is, I don't even know that you could call him grumpy. Like, obviously he's grumpy, right? I'm not saying he's not, but he is, like, what about him, other than how attractive she finds him, is compelling her to want to get his approval or to have him like her or whatever. Like, I understand her physical attraction for him. I think that's the easiest thing, and I think that's telegraphed well. But there's also this part of her that wants just him to approve of her. And so you get the feeling, or I am getting the feeling, that she's walking on eggshells around him all the time. And I don't like that, you know? I also feel like I don't love that she made a very klutzy heroine. The girl falls and hits and hurts herself all the time, and I'm just sort of like, Bella Swan, is that you? I don't know. I think that particular female character heroine trope is so overdone that we're sensitive to it now, and that's how I'm feeling here. So, like, I know I'm being a little bit negative, and I definitely don't hate this book. It's a pleasant reading experience. At this point, and again, I'm only halfway through, that's about all I can say, is that it's pleasant. I'm not in love with any of the characters except for maybe Amos, the boy. I think he's probably the best developed character at this point. He's got a lot of conflicted things that is going on in his life. His background is interesting. He's really struggling. He puts himself out there. So, yeah. Rhodes is still very much a mystery. And yet we still have Aurora just constantly grasping for him to throw her a bone, and I just don't love reading that, you know? I don't love reading that. It gives the impression that she's a bit of a pushover, and I don't want to read. I mean, at this point I've read 300 pages, 290, and I feel like the majority of this book has been her doing everything she can to either A, make him not angry at her, or B, that he won't hate her. And that's literally what she says. It's not even about him liking her. It's about him not hating her. So, I don't know. And I know, like, probably some of you are like, you know, that's what you get in for with a Mariana Zapata. And, like, I know what I'm in for with a Mariana Zapata. I feel like their character dynamic, the setup for a romance, could be handled a lot better in her style. And this is just sort of not wowing me, you know? So that's all I have to say at this point. I will update you when I have something further. I'm also still reading, before I let go, the Kennedy Ryan. I was going to update you on that as well, but I think I'm going to finish Rhodes, update you on that, and then I will finish that and update you on that Kennedy Ryan. So this vlog is probably going to be really long, but I'll talk to y'all in a bit. Kazi, come and see me. How's it going? This boy needs a haircut. He's looking a little shaggy. Oh, so cute. Oh no, Wanda is getting jealous. But you need to have your time, huh? Yes, okay, thank you. Hello, friends. Alright, let's finish this vlog up. This vlog has taken me so much longer to film. And I don't know if it's just me feeling slumpy in general or what, but don't mind the puppy crying in the background. Let's talk about it because I finished 2 books and let's discuss. So, I did finish All Roads Lead Here. My final rating on this, I feel like it's probably like a 3.5, but I'm gonna keep it at a 3 on Goodreads because for me this isn't quite a 4-star book. Now, I really, really loved a lot of elements in this book. I loved the setting. I loved that it was in the mountains, that she wanted to go hiking, that there was like this, like natural, what's he doing? He's getting a bone. Like in the natural world and wildlife, in nature, in mountains and hiking. Like I love that. I love hiking. I love it so much. I haven't done any hiking this year for health reasons, which makes me very sad, but I loved that. I loved the setting. It felt very real. The setting was, it was a big part. I feel like the setting was a big character in the story and I really, really liked that. I did like when Rhodes finally softened towards her. I did like that a lot. I felt like he was the classic Mariana Zapata hero who is so grumpy and then he softens for her and he's like, of course I like you. What made you think I didn't like you? You know, well, we are reading only from her perspective, and all we're seeing is he's kind of being a jerk to her for a lot of the book, you know? So I loved that transformation moment. However, that wasn't strong enough. That wasn't strong enough on page. And especially his reason for being like, well, when he like explained to her, this is why I act the way that I do. It doesn't mean that I don't like you. And I'm like, I don't know, like, I am being critical of this book. There were too many things in this book that kept it from being a 5-star read for me. That doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. I did enjoy my time reading it. It took me a long time to read. I started it Thursday and I just finished it yesterday, which was Sunday. So that's kind of a long time for an audiobook. Like, usually if an audiobook is taking me that long, something about it is not holding my attention. And that makes me sad because this has a lot of elements that I would really, really love. Like, I love the layered elements to the story regarding her parents and Amos, his son, and all of the history between, you know, in their individual backstories. I felt like that was interesting. I wish that we had seen a few earlier revelations instead of having to wait so long to get any information about what had happened. I don't like that. I feel like a lot of this book, nothing was happening. And, like, I don't mean to say that I need a lot of plot to happen, but it just felt very directionless. It felt like if there's not something propelling the story forward in terms of an outside situation, it needs to be an internal journey. And I didn't really feel that internal journey in the romance. I did feel that internal journey with Aurora. I felt like her journey in here was pretty satisfying. It was really good. But I didn't ever feel like that intersected with the romance. The romance for me in this book was pretty lackluster, sadly, and I think a lot of that has to do with what I mentioned in the previous clip, where Aurora almost gave me the feeling of like walking on eggshells and doing everything she could to win the approval of this man. And I couldn't help but wonder, like, why? Why does he matter to you? Why does it matter to you that he likes you? It felt off. It felt like that never really got answered. And I think that's a tricky thing in a Grumpy Sunshine when you have such an extreme grump and such an extreme sunshine like you have here. Because there has to be something compelling them together. There has to be something where she's like, okay, he's giving me these vibes, or he did this thing that was really romantic, and it doesn't even have to be really romantic, like some flirtation, basically. And I just didn't feel that here. It felt like she was working so hard to get him to either notice her or approve of her or like her, and he was giving her nothing. And that type of off-balance relationship is tough for me. It's tough for me when I see a heroine specifically, although it can go in the opposite direction, but it's really hard for me when I see a heroine basically bending over backward to get the approval of this man. That's not the type of romantic fantasy I want to read. I want to see the hero, you know, do more than the bare minimum, which, to be honest, for most of the book, that's what I felt like Rhodes was doing, like bare minimum or slightly below. So, yeah, I felt like those are my main complaints with this book, and it just never felt resolved to me. It never felt like she had won me over with the romance when they finally got there together. And it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that this was slow burn. Like, I love slow burns. But this was just slow in a different way. The plotting was slow. The relationship development was slow. It had nothing to do with when they had sex. It was just everything leading up to that was too drawn out, and it felt meandering. So, final rating, I think, is probably a 3. I'm not even going to go 3.5, because my biggest takeaway with this book, sadly, is a feeling of frustration. Which is a bummer, because I know so many people have loved this. I'm sure some of you watching this love this book, and I am so sorry. It just didn't hit for me, and I am sad about it, because I have loved every other Mariana Zapata book that I've read. This one was, unfortunately, not terrible, but it was definitely slightly disappointing with what I had wanted to see here. So, 3 stars. Okay, now let's talk about the Kennedy Ryan book. I'm just going to briefly talk about my feelings about this, very briefly. This is an arc. I talked about that earlier. This is her new release. It comes out in the fall. And if you are new to Kennedy Ryan, I feel like something that I have noticed on TikTok is that she is recommended a lot. Like, her Hoop series are often recommended in sports romance. And they are sports romance, right? But I think the thing that if you are new to Kennedy Ryan, you have to understand is that she is a very powerful writer, and she's a very emotional writer, and she talks about some very heavy themes, and she does not skirt around pain. And I love her for that reason. I think that she is one of the most masterful writers I have ever read in my life. She is beautifully poetic in the way she puts prose together. Like, she is just a master wordsmith, but the thing that makes her so excellent for me, like, I'm getting chills talking about this, isn't just the fact that her prose is beautiful and poetic and lyrical and just, like, stunning and meaningful, although that's a lot. She also transcends that, and she has characters that are so relatable. It doesn't matter what realm of life they live in, I find myself able to relate to all of the characters, whether they're male or female. I just feel like they're so easy to understand. It's so easy to step into their shoes and see and feel their point of view, and that is exactly what she did here. So both of those things are hallmarks of this book. Just, it does deal with some pretty painful topics and subject matter, and beautiful, lush, evocative, meaningful prose, and excellent characters that are so real, it feels like you are in the room with them. Like, oh my gosh, the reading experience of this was everything I wanted it to be. It was everything I wanted it to be. I'm getting tears every time I talk about a new Kennedy Ryan book. I get tears. I can't help it. I can't help it. I can't help it. But, Kazi, did I worry you? So, not but, and, because there's no buts about this. This was a 5-star read. This is probably my favorite book I've read this year. This was powerful and emotional, and I feel like specifically the things that are internal in this relationship are very specific to me personally, so that means that this is one of those books that has deep personal meaning, and I don't want to hear anything negative about it. I haven't seen anything negative, but I also know it's not out in the wide world yet, and even people who got an arc on Saturday probably still haven't read it, so... Okay, the romance in here made me ache. It made me ache. It made me feel so much. Because this is a second chance romance, so for the first part of the book, I don't know exactly how much, you're in this new reality where these two met, they were soulmates, and their marriage dissolved because of something very tragic, an accident that happened that kind of started a disintegration of their relationship, something that they didn't foresee coming. It happened, and it broke them apart. So they're divorced now. They're co-parenting their kids. They co-own this restaurant, and they're trying to live a life, but it's very clear to the reader and to the characters that the feelings there are still alive and well. They still love each other. They still want each other. The chemistry between these two was excellent. They want each other so badly. They love each other. Oh my gosh, this hero, Josiah, he's probably one of my favorite heroes. Like, oh my gosh, the way that he literally worshipped this woman, and the type of man that he was, where he was just like the type of man that you dream about, like a stand-up man. Oh my gosh, like I can't even handle it. So, and then you get to the point where this is a second chance romance, so how are they going to work this out? How are they going to come back together? And it was powerful. It was so powerful. It was just beautiful, honestly. So my point is, if you have read Kennedy Ryan before, I'm confident you're going to love this. It does have some pretty painful parts that might feel very heavy to read. But if you have read Kennedy Ryan before, you know that she always ends up with a payoff that makes that pain worth it. And that's something that I love about her book so much. It's just so wonderful. I love it so dearly. So I adored this book. Nobody is probably surprised who knows me. She is my favorite author. I think she is literally one of the most important and talented authors that I have ever read in my life. She's fantastic and amazing. And I loved this book. I wish I could reread it for the first time. It was just everything I could have hoped for. So, all of that being said, I don't want to give anything away. I am going to mention the content warnings that I noticed right now. So if you don't want to have content warnings, if you don't want to have any potential spoilers there, mute me, or you can just end the video here because I'm just going to say goodbye. So content warnings, let me pull up my Goodreads review real quick. Okay, so these were the ones that I had noticed, so this might not be all inclusive. Content warning for loss of a child, grief. Grief is a big theme in this one. Depression, that's also a big theme. Divorce, and suicidal thoughts. So I felt very seen in this book, even though I have not experienced the exact set of circumstances that this couple has. And I mean, probably nobody has experienced exactly what you read in a book. But I have not been quiet about the fact that I do struggle with depression, some pretty severe depression. And this was an extremely accurate and sensitive portrayal of that, and I felt very seen, and it felt like a hug, like someone was saying, I know how you feel, and I love you, and it was just beautiful. And you guys, I'm sorry I'm being so emotional about this, but this book was just fantastic. So, alright, I'm going to end this very long clip here. I'm going to try and get this vlog edited for soon, but I don't know when it will be up. I guess you'll see it when you see it, but thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this reading vlog, which was a little bit chaotic, and I'll see y'all in my next video.